Also notice something too. See this symbol right here? That's a socket. A lot of the weapons and armor you find in Dungeon Crusade is going to be socketed. And there is, I don't have these done yet. We're printing these up next. Notice the mining section here. In Dungeon Crusade, you can mine. You can mine and craft. I put a very simple, very fun mining and crafting system in the game for you. So when you're in the dungeon, you have to get a pickaxe from the blacksmith, and then you can mine. And it's a real simple mechanic, guys. You know me. It's easy. And then you can find precious gems and different minerals. Have Albus run back to the village, and the blacksmith will craft you a power gem. You bring it back and plug it into there, and it'll give you all kinds of bonuses. And the system is very simple and very fun to use. So, in the designing, because the game is so huge, I wanted to have easy stuff for you. So please remember that. So there, that's how glad I caught that. So socketable weapons, right? And then lastly, legendary. And here is a very cool one. This is Eternal Guardian. Again, tier 3, 700 gold, +3. This has a lot of stuff to it. +3 damage, +4 to physical warfare rolls. But this will also, you could also add +1 to your strength and evade attribute. So this is a great, great weapon. Okay, so that is, that's the loot card. And I'm going to make sure we got everything. I think we got everything. Because now we're going to move on to the Tomb of Caladar. And this is something I've been dying to show you guys for a long time. Okay, so how to start this off. I think some of you know that my favorite game in the whole world is the 80s Dungeon Quest and like new revisions. I just love that game. Since we're doing Dungeon Crusade, this is my chance to kind of a tip of the hat to that game, but of course put my own spin on it and make it very creative and unique to Dungeon Crusade. And so I created this, and Damian Mamaldi, he did this board here. I did the blueprint or layouts, and he painted this thing, just recreated it, and it's just gorgeous. And of course Sean did the other three that are just incredible. And I made this real tight corridors and very complex. I would not recommend playing this board your first time out. Before we get into this, I want to say also, you do not have to play this board with all the traps and the environmental hazards, which I'm going to show you. You can play it, I guess you could call it softcore, where you don't have to deal with that. You can just play the board as is. But hardcore is playing it the way it was meant, and it's very tough. So what I want to say about this board is I think that you're going to see that, to me, to my knowledge, I don't think you've ever seen something quite like this board. I wanted to be very innovative with it and give you a new experience. And so we're going to be going over environmental hazards that I'm calling them. And these are located all over the Tomb of Caladar. And real quickly, I wrote a little story. There was this wizard named Caladar who resided in, I guess it's story time, right? Down here in Mistvale. So he lived there, and he was accused of something he didn't do. So what he did was he left Mistvale, and he went to this tomb, the Tomb of Caladar, and created all these traps and vicious things and these certain creatures to help him. And then he went back to Mistvale and would take people back to his Tomb of Caladar. So that's the little story I crafted. So a little lore for you while we're talking about this. So we're going to go over, look, I don't have any of the trap cards here, and I'm definitely trying to keep those a surprise for you. So let me get down here with this tripod. I think you can see that pretty good. So we're in Caladar's study room, and we're going to take Enwyn, my favorite hero, and we're going to put her here. Patrol routes are not done on this yet. I have to put those in for Dean to help with the final ones. And the trap locations are not put yet. I still have to do that. But what you're going to do is, the way the trap system works, and I created, me and Dean, he did the line art. Wait till you see his incredible art for this. I created a bunch of different traps, very unique ones. And so, say you come up with something like this, and Enwyn wants to go this way. Well, she has a base movement of 3, plus the roll of a d6. So she got a 6. It's a lot of movement. So she would have to go 1 and then decide where she wants to go. Does she want to go on this one or this one? And I don't know. I didn't even know. So let's just say she goes to this one here. Before you continue moving, you have to flip it over. See that? And thank you, Annika actually she did the trap art in this. So you have to, so you see this is this blue. It means it's a clear status. Nothing happens. You can continue moving. However, if you step on that, you can see that's like a bear trap on your foot. You have to draw a trap card. So that's how, a real simple system, but every time you play this board, you're going to see that it's always changing. The traps are going to be, different. Sometimes you're going to get a lot of clear. Sometimes you're going to get a lot of ones with traps. You'll never know from game to game. It's a very, I think, exciting mechanic in the game. So and I'm sorry I don't have any trap cards, but I want to keep those a surprise for you. So I've shown you a lot of stuff. That's one thing that hopefully you could be surprised about. See, what else we're going to do? I want to talk about real quick this section right here. Camera down. And tell me too, let me know what you think of the clarity of this camera. I got a good deal on it, so hopefully you like this. This was my favorite part of this dungeon. It's called the Labyrinth of Solitude, and I designed this purposely to be this way. You notice this is the only board that has dual entries for a chamber, and every time you play this board, you can just do this. You're going to place a mystery chamber token inside of there. And then when you enter, you're going to have to draw from the mystery token cup or whatever bag or whatever you're going to have. You're never going to know what's inside of a mystery chamber. So every time you play for it, you do, and the seeding process of playing, you are going to put that in there. But you notice these treasure chests are here to the back. But you also notice there's traps. So when you start off, they're very easy to get to, because here's the siege tile right here. All it is directly to the north, but you have to consider, do you really want to go through the traps to get to those treasure chests? This is an easy route to get into the backside of this dungeon, but you have to deal with a mystery chamber. And then you have to consider what you're going to pull from the treasure chest deck. So I just love this little area, and I think it'll be a good time when you're playing to experience what exactly happens in this one area of the dungeon.